Well, hopefully the mic is working this morning. So I'm back on the Vevor router sled setup, and this would be probably the fourth video. So I did a video setting it, putting this together, and I did a video putting the table together and setting up this jig so that this could run on it. And then I did another video where we tested out the Kebolt router. This whole entire series and wood treatments are being sponsored and being brought to you by Preservation Solutions. They have been a longtime partner and supporter of my work, and I have thoroughly enjoyed having their products to make great products for myself to sell and to share with you guys. So if you are into doing this type of work, please visit, and I will leave a link below. You can go to their website and order, or you can go on Amazon. It's probably the easiest way. I will leave a link to their store on Amazon. If you need to get you some stabilization products for your wood products, this is green treatment here for green wood, penacryl, and the wood juice is for stuff below 24%. If you're a sawyer and you have a mill, they do sell in-grain sealer, which oftentimes I also use on these products that I build with their products as well. So thank you to everybody at Preservation Solutions. You have been a huge blessing to me, and hopefully they're a huge blessing to you guys as well on it. And we did a small maple just to try it out. So since that last video, several people had questions. I had questions as well because, well, it's my first time using one, and I wasn't really sure how it would, if my ideas of setting it up were actually going to work, because this is really set up more for doing giant slabs, cookies, and stuff like that, being it's more square versus long, because this will do 6'4", and I could have put it on whatever length track I wanted and done long slabs, but I just don't do that many of those. And I have the sawmill that I can flatten, you know, slabs with. So in my case, it didn't make any sense. So with that said, one of the questions and conversations was about whether I could use the DeWalt. The DeWalt, I have a plunge base, and then it also came with a fixed base. So one of the other issues that I discovered that kind of I didn't really know exactly how to work around. So with this setup here, okay, it holds the router head up pretty high. There's probably about 1 inch of depth here, plus it sits on another 1/4 inch plate. So I've got this all the way down, and it doesn't go far but below this. So when you're coming over here, you know, you don't have a lot of room to adjust anything. So I was looking at my DeWalt on the fixed mount, and I was looking at this depth right here. Now these are all 1/2 inch drive. So I was just wondering, you know, if that was on there, would I get any more depth? And I definitely will. This one goes down a lot lower than this unit, and I don't have a plunge router head unit for this. So the options are limited on what I can do with that one. Now, I don't really want to tie the DeWalt up staying on this jig, because I use the plunge router for a lot of other projects that I do. So this does have another plate There's no holes drilled in it. I'd have to drill the holes to mount on this, but I had considered doing that. It's just a 1/4 inch plexi, so you could buy whatever you need to buy or whatever you figured you'd buy. So today the question was whether we could use this or not. I'm not going to set it up today with this DeWalt setup. I'm just going to put that aside for today, and we're just going to focus mainly on doing this pecan cookie, because the main thing I want to test today is I have 2 bits. Let's see here. We'll just slide it out of here. You just slide these off here, and I'll kind of show you. I don't know, I probably can't get it by there. Let's see. We'll undo this and bring it up. So like I said, it's kind of a pain, and I'm not really, and this adjustment on this is a pain. I'm not a real big fan of the big bolt. It doesn't like to really come undone. This is supposed to be a free spool right here. All right, I think I got it now. It's got a big bit on it, so it's not going to come all the way off, but I gotta get this out here. I got it tight. So this is just a cheap bit. It's a 2-inch diameter bit. So the question was, would this bit actually last, be worth anything? I need to open these up a little bit so it slides better. So the question was, would that bit actually get anything done? Would it be worth anything, or last? So I figured this video, I wanted to play with this this jig a little bit more, and I figured I'd bring you along this morning with me. We also talked about the cord and whether the cord, how we could hook it up so it's not in the way. And some people had suggested zip tying it to this rail, but if I move this back and forth, I figured I could have it like that. But if you move, let's get back over here. If you move this back and forth, it gets really slack. It could come down and get caught. So I haven't got a solution for that yet. Possibly buy a really long, like little spring or something. You know, a real cheap, thin spring. You could maybe hook something here, have it come over here. So as you move this, it'd kind of pull the cord back, but it would let it go that way as well. So that's the fun part of getting everything set up. And a lot of people may have a lot of great ideas. I look forward to your great ideas, because this is all about having a little bit of fun with this and to make some cool projects. Like I said, this is a pecan, and right now it won't go low enough to hit it. So even with it all the way down, it won't take a skim off it. And the width of the cutting blade is just, only the width is below this rail. So I definitely need to rethink the whole router setup. I don't know if I can get maybe a different base for this. I don't think running this using a 1/4 inch shank is going to be strong enough, especially with a 2-inch router bit. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for that yet. So today we're just going to go ahead and work on this and have a little fun with this to see how this bit does in some really hard pecan, and get a couple of these done. I'll bring you in close so you can see what's going on, and we'll just have a little fun with it. How about that? That sound good? All right, good. Okay, let's take a couple passes really quick here. I already took a couple just to kind of make sure I had it set up right. And so what I did for this pass, just to show as an example, is they have these locking pieces here that you can tighten down, and it holds this fixed as far as left and right goes. So, like I said, this is a Vevor. This unit you can buy like you see it set up here with just a single height, which is probably in retrospect now what I should have done. It does have another head piece here. These can go on for doing taller stuff. But, you know, when you buy something, you just like, well, you just kind of want to buy what you think you need and just spend the money up front. And then if you don't need it, well, I guess you don't need it, but then you may need it, and then you regret not getting it. So you can't buy those upper brackets that raise it up separate once you buy the original unit. So what I might actually do is buy another setup just like this without the upper adjustable pieces, because I like to have another table set up with this to do it for long slabs. Even though I know I said I had to mill, but this finish, the bits finish this a lot smoother, a lot less sandy. So that is a possibility, because I do a lot of benches and small tables and stuff like that. So that is a future possible project. So let's just take a pass here with this head unit fixed so that you can kind of see how it's running. And then I'll bring you in a little closer so you can kind of see how this bit is doing. And we'll go ahead and finish up this side of the pecan cookie. All right, we got a little. So this power head seems to handle the 2-inch bit pretty well. Now I'm going to go over kind of another big issue that a lot of people mentioned is, obviously you see all this stuff on the rail. If it gets all over the rail, then it's going to raise the little feet up. And eventually this is just going to get raised up. So I have thought of a couple ideas on how to resolve that. One is you can get, see how this little has this little dust piece right here? It's supposed to sweep it off, but it's not tight enough to the wood to actually push it off. So you can get door sweeps that are like this with a stiff, it'll have a stiffer piece. They call it a door sweep. So I think what I'm going to do is get like a 36-inch door sweep and screw it possibly to here and see if that will keep the dust from getting in there, or possibly figure out a way to mount it here so as this goes back and forth. Look at that, it's just all stuck to it. So that's probably raised it up quite a bit. If you're only going this way, it's throwing the dust this way, so really only this one really gets the worst of the sawdust. So, and I thought about just putting a board here, just a simple board, and seeing how that works. So we will do that on this video. Matter of fact, that is the next thing that I'm going to do. So when you come back, we will have the boards on the side. Okay, I had just some short little maple boards. I ran through a table saw and got them so they would clear the rails here. So this is just going to be like kind of like proof of concept, just to see if having a board there would actually make a difference or not. I am going to undo these locks here and just set them aside so that I can control this freehand. But one thing I did learn is I didn't tighten these up last time and they came apart and I almost lost the pieces. So going this direction, it'll want to pull into the wood, but if you tried to come back with it this way, it wants to pull out. So I will probably just go this way. I'll go this way, pull it back, move it over, and go this way until we finish up the top of this. And I'm curious to see how much debris will get past each one of these sides. Then we'll kind of look at the finish on it, see how this bit's doing, to see if it's burning it or if it has any issues. I'll flip it over, get everything set up, and I'll bring it in closer where you can see it actually work and cut, and just so you get an idea whether this bit or not is really going to work. So that was the big question that people had on the last video. Same for me. That's why I have a carbide bit as well. But I wanted to go ahead and run this one a little bit and see how it does. Finish up a few cookies before I put the carbide on it. I do have some cherry cookies that are barely going to fit in here. So we will do those, possibly some of these, with that carbide bit, but on the next video. So let's get started. Okay, now you can see most of the debris is going over here. And that bit's doing a pretty good job. These cookies are not dry, okay? I'm pre-flattening them so I can treat them with the pedicrile. So I don't want to waste it. There's no sense in starting off with an unsmooth surface. So let me grab you guys. We'll take a look over here at what's going on with where the wheels travel. So let's look really close here. The broom, little broom on it, is kind of keeping stuff pushed away. It seems to be staying flat on the board. So that definitely helped. Put these boards here. Now obviously it'd be better if they were full length. I grabbed what boards I had and I made it work. So I'm going to get this flipped over and we will go ahead and do the other side to see how well it does overall. So far, there's a little bit maybe burning there or there, and you can hear that bit, that 2-inch bit, is working that router pretty good. So I don't know, I'm not as familiar with the Cobalt power tools. I needed an extra unit, and you saw that it had a table in the last video that came with. So it was just a fixed table. This goes underneath it. It has a switch. It'll run a vacuum and all at the same time. So I thought that might be a neat idea. So that's what I got. So this was not the original intention for that. I would think, and the way it sounds, the DeWalt seems like it's a little more beefy. So we'll see if we end up burning this one up or not. Then we will try the carbide bit on the next video. So I'll get you guys set back up here on your mount, and we will hopefully get to the other side. Okay, I got it set back up. I did want to mention a few things, and I forgot to mention. I just went and got these little cheap shims. I think they were like $1.79 for a shim pack. So it's nice when you first start off and you got to shim it to get it to where you want to cut it and make it flat. Once it's flat, then I cut just a bunch of different whatever scraps I had. These are 5/8. Then right now I have some 3/4 underneath it. Then I have some 1/4 inch. I made some 3/8 slats. Just different sizes to get me close enough that I could adjust this unit on there as far as the height go. But like I said, the bit doesn't come down really far. So you got to be kind of close. Now, I was having a little trouble with the block I had under there, and this was kind of hitting the rail. So I kind of pre-did that and took that little section off. But this time, I'm going to use the router bit going this way across the cookie instead of the other way, just to be different and try something different. So this thing does have, and I'll aim you down, this does have locks here. So to say I wanted to go across it and I couldn't hold it, say, you can screw these in and they will hit the boards and hold it secure so it doesn't move around on you. So as long as you go this direction and not back this way, it kind of pulls towards the wood, so it's fine. It can kind of get away from you there if you're not careful. So this way is obviously easier, but we're testing this out. So I want to see what different ways and how we can use it. Like I said, if this was a long board on here, and say I wanted to do a long board, you could grab a hold of these, and this would be turned the other direction, and you would go along the slab. Like I said, this does slide in here. It's just plastic on aluminum. We'll see how long that lasts. This is a under $200 flattening slab. So I'm not expecting it to be a $400. I'm not expecting it to be a $1,000 sled. I just want to better have a little fun and do a few projects. So let's try this out. I do kind of reach a little bit. Now I will tell you, running it this way across here tends to not put as much debris over here, but I'm noticing this isn't sweeping it away as good for some reason that way. These little brooms that are on here need to be a little stiffer, and they need to be a little lower, and they would do really well if that was the case. So that is another topic or another improvement that I need to consider. I mean, having the blower here seems to do just fine. So let's go ahead and run across it this way. Now on this side, I'm going to have to take a couple passes because this was really crooked. But this side has a lot of sculpting to it. This is a good looking specimen there. So maybe we'll do a little quick time lapse and we'll get this side flattened out and I'll bring you back to regular speed. Once we get it done, I'll show you what it looks like. Man, look at this. Now you know why I have it outside. Yeah, you know why. It's outside. Because there's a lot of wood chips that come from this, and I don't feel like vacuuming them up every time and having sawdust all over the poor shop. You know what I'm saying? So I got it close. It's still a little bit lower right here, but when I treat this, I don't anticipate this is going to stay perfectly flat. Good old coffees. Even with the treatment, it's liable to move around just a little bit, and that will be a test too when we come back. Once this is dried and ready for a project, we'll set it back up on here and we'll see how well the pentacryl from Preservation Solutions how stable and flat it'll keep this cookie. So now I want to show you something really nice. This pecan cookie here came from a pecan tree that I got over a year ago from some locals here. Had a big farm, and it's a massive sections of the tree. Now some of it I milled, and I have sold some of it, but I kept a giant section about 8 feet long. This came out of another section. I've got it covered and protected and the end sealed so that this year, maybe next year, we can keep making these cookie little tables. So this could be like a little bar table, you know, where it's up taller. I have some sections of logs that I kept that are going to be perfect size for like stools. So if you can imagine this finished with a nice glossy finish with a spalt and it had 2 stools to go with it. That's the concept I'm going for. The other cherry cookies I did, they were all one size. I should have made some a little smaller. Now that in hindsight, would have been nice to be able to make some stools. So basically with those, we just had like end tables. So they were shorter, but I guess you could use them for stool, but you know, hindsight's 2020. So let me bring you over here and show you how pretty the inside of that log. So this has been sitting, and I purposely let them sit so they get spalty. Now I don't know where we're at as far as the moisture goes on it. I'll put you back up over here on the holder. And well, you know what? When you need an answer, you get the tools out to get the answer. So let me go get the moisture meter. We'll see where this is at. Now, whatever I measure, those prongs are only going to go in like maybe an 1/8 inch. So it's obviously probably going to be wetter on the interior. I highly doubt I would consider this dry enough to use the wood juice versus the pentacryle. But just for proof of concept again, to see what we're going to do with it and what the best treatment is, let me go grab the moisture meter real quick. So in case you're curious what moisture meter I'm using, I just got it off of Amazon, and it seems to work really well. It has different settings. So you got hardwood, then you have your packing for whatever that's worth. Then you have building for like your building structures, like your kiln dried stuff. Then it has softwood for softwood. So since this is a hardwood, we'll put it back on hardwood. It's all digital. I've had this for, I've had this for a couple of years. The battery still works fine. So let's see. Yeah, oh yeah, we're definitely up there. You probably can't see it. 30%, even just in that little teeny bit there. So it's definitely a pentacryle treatment for it. I have left them stacked up outside and letting it get rained on them because I don't want them drying out before I can get them done, because you really want to treat these with the pentacryle. The biggest issue is I ordered 2 small 36-inch kiddie pools, plastic, so that I could start treating these and I could do videos on them. And I got them through Walmart.com, and they have delayed the shipping. They say they're shipped, and then they get delayed, and they get delayed. That's been going on for over a week and a half now. Now they're pushed back to the 28th. It's like, I might just cancel it, take some wood, just build a box, take some heavy plastic, and put it in there, because these thick ones like this have to soak 24 hours, and it's per inch. So these are around 2.5 inches. So this is going to take 2 days to soak to be treated. And then we can take this one out, and hopefully I'll have a bunch of these made, and we can keep soaking them and get them wrapped up and dried. So that's the next process, next part of the process in this project. So I appreciate you watching, hanging out. I've had access to a nice, really expensive router sled, but I don't do it every day. So I figured, you know what? What is the most reasonable priced, something that might be quality material that I could kind of make work, create a situation to where I don't have to spend $500 to $1,000 on a router sled. And this seems to do it. Like I said, I don't think I would have bought this particular unit with the other pieces that go on this for raising it up, because I simply, these rails right here, I made them so that I could do from 2.5 down to 2-inch. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do. And if I did start doing like 1-inch, 1.25, there's enough adjustment in here for about 1-inch on this particular router. So I could just simply make some new rails or a whole nother table, because if I end up doing that, I'm not going to want this square setup. I'm going to want something more rectangular anyways. And if this seems to work, I'll just buy another whole one of these setups right here, and just repeat this, but you know, long ways. So I will probably build a table for that, because now, kind of thinking about it, this table originally I bought, maybe put it in the shop. But then I was like, you know what? I don't have to build a whole table. I can just use this one for now until I maybe build something. Maybe possibly even something like in a building where it's actually fixed, you know, it's fixed to a wall. I would just use slats, like 2x4s, or and have it open without having to worry about the table. You don't really need the table, you just need slats for these to set on. I've seen quite a few other YouTube videos where they've done that. So I'm learning as well in the process, and I'm having a good time doing it. I hope you're having a good time watching me do it, because these are fun projects to do. I know it takes years once you start drying them and getting them wrapped up, but if you have enough of them in storage and you stage yourself over time, you will have ones that become ready throughout the year. So, like I said, the only thing that I really don't like is the amount of height adjustment on this unit. The DeWalt, I really don't want to tie it up on this here, and I don't want to have to undo it every time I want to do it. So I may look into the 1/2-inch drive DeWalt that just has the fixed. In other words, it doesn't have the plunge router set, so it won't be as expensive. Doesn't hurt to have a couple of these. They're great tools. So possibly that's an answer. This would work good if you were doing like 1.5 or 3/4-inch slabs, and you only needed that little bit of 1/4-inch to 1/2-inch adjustment to flatten them out. That would be fine for that. I think the DeWalt would be better on this particular setup. Wind Tools makes a nice heavy-duty one. That might be an option. Harbor Freight makes one, for all that matters. I have one. The only problem is these handle caps broke off because they're not solid like these, but the unit runs fine. So if I can find some more handles for it, I could possibly use that one on here. That one I did big timbers with. I chamfered them and everything, and it's got lots of power. It's a lot better than that one. So we're learning. We're learning. You're hanging out with me as I learn. So please leave any comments or suggestions or ideas that you might have. And it may be something that you're looking at doing this, and you kind of want to use me as a guinea pig to test out, to confirm any ideas that you might have. And I'm perfectly fine with that. That's why I do the channel. That's why I like doing this. So just reach out to me. You can leave your comments and ask me any questions. I try to get to them within 24 hours as far as the comments go. Not doing as much filming right now, so I have more time that I could answer any questions and talk to you guys. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. The big thumbs up is a big deal. That helps the channel a lot in the algorithms. I'm sure you hear a lot of people tell you that, and it really does. So I rely on that. It helps me to do all this stuff. Plus, it gives me great motivation to see those thumbs up. Tells me that maybe I'm doing something a little right, at least a little right.